Tonight, we will figure out if the Weber house is really haunted, if ghosts do exist, and if we, the living, must fear them.
When I was like 12 or 13, I started doing stuff with the family camcorder. Like I started making like stop motion animation films, little horror movies, and each day after school I would make a new movie. I started seeing a lot of like shot on video horror films, and there was this moment where I was like, man, these people make it look like, you know, anybody could do this. And there was this sort of punk rock, like DIY mentality about these shot on video movies, and they were getting into video stores, and I thought, this is so cool, maybe I could make something like that.
The movie. It's shot on video.
So?
Everybody knows. Movies shot on video suck.
Like, I was really inspired by the work of like J.R. Bookwalter and like the stuff like the Polonia brothers were doing, when, at least the stuff I had seen at that point, and also EI. Like, I remember going through Fangoria back issues and seeing the ad for like, did you shoot a movie? Send it to EI. And I remember when I was like 14, I made this 55-minute slasher flick called Amerikill, and I sent, as soon as it was done, I sent a submission copy to EI, like hoping like, oh, maybe they'll put it out. But I started making movies because, like, you know, there was this fun sense of like, anyone can do this. Like, if you're passionate about it, you can make your own film.
Amerikill! Line up the dead! Amerikill! I'm in your head! Amerikill! Can't hear you cry! Amerikill! You're gonna die!
So Amerikill was the first serious attempt I made to make a horror film. It was a 55-minute slasher comedy. I shot it when I was 14 years old. It was probably like 9 or 10 shooting days, and the most difficult thing when you're 14 making a movie is that getting people to locations. Like, I had to convince my sister to pick up all my friends to do these scenes. We shot the film doing in-camera editing. Like, I would say, alright guys, count of 3. 1, 2, 3. Somebody would say their line, I would cut. I would go to the next character, record, say their line, cut. In the first release of Amerikill, the first tape release that I did myself, there's 3 VCR edits, and all the rest is just in-camera editing. It's fucking crazy. Like, I don't know how I pulled that off. Like, if I tried to make a movie like that now, I would probably, like, just blow my brains out, because it was so difficult. But at 14, when you don't know something is impossible, you can just do it, you know? So.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8.
I self-released Amerikill initially, and I would sell copies. I remember we had an ad in Maximum Rock and Roll. We sold a couple copies through that, you know, through just people that heard about it through word of mouth. But I didn't sell that many. And Chris Seaver approached me, I guess maybe 2009, then we started doing Warlock, and he asked if he could put it out. I said, yeah, dude, that's totally fine. I cut a 10-year anniversary in 2009, because we shot it in 1999. In 2009, I just cut out a couple minutes of it, cleaned it up a little bit. Every once in a while, when we're at a convention together and Chris sells a copy, he'll give me $10. You know, it's just like kind of funny. I mean, honestly, like, I never expected to make money from that movie, and it's just like, you know, if anything, it's just neat to see what I did at 14.
20 years ago, the Weber house in River Hill Township was the site of ghastly depravity, a case the local police dubbed the Spirit-Born Murders. Now, WNUF TV 28 takes you on a horrifying journey through this supposedly haunted estate.
For lack of a better term, WNUF is a found footage movie. But it's a little bit different in how we approach the story. Imagine if someone taped a broadcast of a local UHF station on Halloween night 1987. So this local sleazebag TV personality is hosting a live on-air broadcast reporting from a supposedly haunted house in the town. And strange things start occurring.
And for the first time, we're about to go inside. What horrible secrets will we uncover? What strange apparitions lurk behind this doorway?
And it's done in a way where there's, you know, commercials every 5 minutes. There's 2-minute commercial breaks. You even get to see the news before the broadcast. It is literally as if your, you know, your aunt taped something off TV for you and then gave you the VHS tape.
Queen.
We wanted to make another feature. We had made a film maybe the year before called Witch's Brew, a horror comedy about cursed beer, and it took a lot of time to finish, and it took a lot of time in post-production, and we didn't have any money, and it was the first summer, probably since my partner Jimmy George and I had started making movies, that we didn't make a movie. and that kind of bummed us out, and we were like, well, maybe we could try making a found footage film. And we started thinking about like what we didn't like about found footage movies, because there's probably like 5 found footage movies that I actually like, and all the rest I think are really derivative. So we wrote a list of things that were wrong with found footage movies. So Jimmy and I sat down and we wrote all the reasons why we didn't like these movies, and we answered essentially our own problem questions. So number 1, why do these films keep filming when something terrifying is happening? Well, maybe they have to keep filming. Maybe this is a TV broadcast, and that's why they have to keep filming. If they stop rolling, they're losing money. And if they lose money, they're losing jobs. You know what I mean? So it was like, that was like, immediately at that point, it's like, you have to tell this story and you have to keep the film rolling, otherwise everyone's fucked.
What the hell is going on up there?
There's someone upstairs. We're going to commercial.
Oh, the hell we are, folks.
Second, in order to break the monotony, going off the TV thing, like, we'd have to have commercial breaks. And with commercial breaks, you know, every 5 minutes you cut to a 2-minute commercial break, and that makes it seem more genuine.
With a stunning array of both VHS and Betamax video cassette tapes, playable on your home VCR.
So that would go into the fact that, how would we handle making this film be released in a way that people could actually believe this was real? So when we initially released WNUF, we put it on VHS tapes, and just had a white spine label with black Sharpie that said WNUF Halloween Special 1987. And we literally went to like thrift stores and like VHS conventions. I mean, I remember taking copies of the video and just throwing them out the window while I was driving. And hopefully somebody would find a copy, put it in their VCR, and watch this movie, and they would think it was actually supposedly like a lost, you know, local television broadcast. We just saw a lot of missed opportunities with the found footage genre, and we wanted to see if we could do something unique and sort of weirder.
The cats run up the stairs, and Shadow has just apparently sensed something, and the burgers are following the cat.
We wrote the role of Frank Stewart for Paul Fahrenkamp. Paul came in and auditioned the first time, and he bombed. Like, his audition was bad. And I was like, Paul, and I pulled him aside, like, dude, I wrote this movie for you. Like, I literally wrote the role of Frank Stewart for you to own. So he came back in a week later, and he auditioned again, and he got it. And the audition process for this one was really weird because the film was scripted start to finish. And we did rehearsals, but the problem was, I didn't want someone to just read scripted lines because I felt like that would have seemed phony. So we'd have people do a couple of the lines, then I would have them sort of take a second, I'd say, alright, I want to ask you some questions in character, you should answer them. So Paul, I asked him, you know, oh Paul, what was your favorite story that you broadcast in the last 10 years? And Paul goes on in this, I think he starts talking about this, like, he has like a bikini competition or something ridiculous, or like local town fair, and it's like, he's being sleazy enough, but at the same time he's being condescending about all the people he's talking about, and I was like, oh, that's Frank Stewart, like this total, like, you know, charming, like, kind of dirtbag.
Whether you believe in an afterlife or not, there's no doubt that Lewis and Claire Berger are the leading experts in this field.
Helen Mary Ball and Brian St. August as the Bergers, they were in previous films of mine, and they were just fantastic. I mean, the transformation for all these actors was complete when they went through hair and makeup. My friend Jasmine Davis did the makeup and hair, and she did these like crazy like pompadours, and everybody looks like more genuine because of those little touches. Our costume designer made a dossier of all the fashions in fall of 1987. Like, she literally told us what was in and what was out. We tried to make it as accurate as possible. Obviously, it was set on Halloween for the story, but the fact that you could do it with people in Halloween costumes, it made the ability to hide that it was, you know, 2013 actually, when it was released to be 1987, that was easier to hide. I DP'd most of it myself, with the exception of my buddy Tim Evers was the second camera, and Tim actually, I worked with him at the government TV station I used to work for, so we had a good flow of being 2 camera guys and doing like a live switch. Shooting the film, we shot probably 3 takes of each scene, and then I would cut up in the edit room the takes, and that was the great thing about having 2 cameras. I could cut it a lot easier. If it was 1 camera, that would have been a nightmare. It was a small crew. I mean, Frank wears a lav mic for some of it, but usually it's just a stick mic, and then 2 cameras. I mean, that was it. It was a small crew. I mean, I think the most crew we had one day outside of actors was like 6 people, you know, and that's the most. Like, most of the time was just Jimmy and I, and the actors.
Have you gotten your pumpkin yet? If the answer's no, then you better come down to the pumpkin patch at High Pike Farms.
early on, we knew we were going to need old footage from that time period. So, I have a relationship with Jared Bookwalter. I'm good friends with some of his friends, and we approached him, asked if we could use footage, and he said, yeah, absolutely. So there's footage from Maximum Impact, there's footage from, I believe, Chick Boxer, there's footage from King of the Vampire, there's footage from Zombie Cop. So all of those sort of like, the 6 movies he made for Dave Dakota. And there's a ton of references in there. I mean, we named the cop that does the trick-or-treat tips after Bookwalter. We named characters after the Polonia brothers. The guy who, the convicted Satanist, Ted Sheets, is very close to Todd Sheets.
Because, in his words, the devil had instructed him to do so.
One thing that was funny was we were shooting the harvest protest scenes outside of this costume store, and now we didn't have permission to shoot in front of this costume store, so we just showed up with pickets, and it's probably like 9 a.m. on a Sunday, and we start protesting, and this like young thug dude walks by and calls us assholes for protesting Halloween, and we were like, well, that's good, I'm glad this guy likes Halloween, we all like Halloween. And then this lady going to church swings by, and she's like, I know that's right, like saying that Halloween is demonic and evil, and it was like, man, I like the guy who called us assholes more than this lady.
Satan wants your soul. And if you participate in Halloween, he shall have it.
Well, my favorite one, I think, editing, and it was one of the first ones we edited, was the 1-900 monster. Like, I love that commercial just because it's so ridiculous. And, like, I know if those hotlines still existed, I would probably still call them. I'd probably get my friends together, we'd probably put it on speakerphone, you know?
Hey, creeps. Do you want to hear horrifying tales of vampires, zombies, werewolves, and more?
I liked shooting the, I didn't write it, I just produced that one, but the Stay Sure tampon commercial, my buddy Matt Mentor wrote that, and we shot that on a hot July day, and that was a blast.
Kimberly, what's wrong?
Oh, nothing, I'm fine.
It's your tampon, isn't it?
So we figured out where the commercials were going to go, and we put them into the edit. So after the film was completely finished, I took the film, put it onto VHS, and then I connected 2 VCRs and bounced them back and forth probably like 3 or 4 times. One, to degrade the quality, but to also make this look like a film that had been traded amongst bootleggers for years to come. Because the way I saw it was, the only way this film was going to get out or be widely accessible in that capacity would be if people were trading it sort of like under the radar. So we wanted to make it look like a bootleg tape.
But something so horrible happened during the last segment. While during that last segment, stop. No, Tom, no, don't show it!
I made it because I thought no one else would ever make a film like that. Like, I didn't think anyone would give us the money to do it, and I did not think it was going to be successful. Like, I seriously thought, like, we'll do this, maybe some people that like the old 80s S.O.V stuff will dig it, and that'll be the end of it, and it'll be a fun little movie to do 2 autumns ago, it'll just be done. What happened was, the marketing and the genuine nature of making the movie, it caught on like I never thought would catch on. I mean, we did an interview about it for the New York Times. Like, I was on NPR National on Halloween to talk about that film. Like, MTV covered it. Like, it was kind of nuts. And literally, it's nuts to me because it was a film that I was like, I want to do this because no one else is dumb enough or crazy enough to do this. To make a standard definition movie in 2013.
Okay, sir, in the back, do you believe in ghosts?